What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here. Today we're playing some Watcher of Realms. If you can't already see in the background, we are looking at another fight in the Immortal Codex, the Lord of the Styx. We're going to see what we could do with something a little special that happened over the weekend. I think we might have a good chance of being able to beat our previous score, but I'm not 100% positive. But we'll just have to find out. So let's dive right in. And welcome back, guys. Like I said, we are going to be talking all about the Lord of Styx. And let's go ahead and take a quick look at the leaderboard so far. And you will see some really interesting champions in here. Some of which I do have access to and others with which I don't. For example, if we look up at this top leaderboard up here, this first guy, Phoebu, I guess however you want to say it, he does have Lust, Silas, and Cetrum, which I do have all three of these champions. However, he does also have access to Praetus, Constance, and Leia. And if we go down, you'll see pretty much very similar champions in the top, right? Praetus, Constance, and Leia are pretty common. And of course, Cetrum, Silas, Calypso, and Lust are also pretty common in this top. There's a few people that are using things like, for example, Falcha right here. There's a Hollow. There are a couple slight differences in various locations. This guy's got a Valderon, for example, using a Dolores, and Elowen, etc. And you'll see on the bottom that this is the team that I have used to achieve the score that I have currently. However, one of the big things that has changed is over the weekend we did do our 1+1 summons and we pulled ourselves a Constance, which is really, really exciting because she is much better than Dolores in this location because she allows us to hit more people with inspiration because she's on the field, the ground units, instead of on a platform. So she has more reach than, the other option. We also can actually get her attack quite a bit higher. If we look here, you'll see we're at 14.4. And we do have access to Astral Obelisk, which means she has more rage regen. I do think I have attempted this with the Astral Obelisk, but I do think I'm going to go ahead and try it with a Keen Wisdom and see if that makes a difference. So we're going to give that a try. We do not have her fully max skilled yet. Unfortunately, we ran out of legendary skill crystals, but we did get the passive up here, which is, I guess, kind of nice. Not super crazy for right now. And we did also get the basic, which kind of sucks. And here we do have the rejuvenating chant that has not been hit. And of course, we do have 2 of the 4 requirements for her ultimate. So there is still a little bit of room to grow, including 5% inspiration and an additional negative 200 skill cost, bringing us down to 900. So there's a little room to grow, but overall I think she's a great champion. She's awesome for this specific location. She is currently in an Invigoration set along with a Warlord set on the left side. We're focusing highly on attack as well as getting some decent attack speed, a little bit of healing effect, and a little bit of rage regen, right? We can see we have about 102 healing effect, 38% rage regen. We have a decent amount of attack speed, right? 336 is not bad, and that brings us down to 1.4 seconds for the interval of her healing, so definitely not a bad build. But the main reason we're using her is going to be for the Hammer of Blessings, right? Because we were giving that huge inspiration. We do also have her talent here, which does restore rage whenever you heal a target. So being able to heal pretty consistently with a high rage regen, as well as, I guess she actually doesn't heal with her ultimate, she just does the inspiration. So just having that really high attack speed is going to be really helpful when it comes to healing your targets, giving them rage. That paired with Elowen means we have a lot of rage sort of like built in because we have this 3% rage every 3 seconds. So this is the team that we're going to run. I'm going to quickly show you the gears just so you can kind of see what we're working with. So right off the bat, we have this semi-okay gear on Aracha. It's nothing crazy. It's nothing to write home about, but she's not the main reason that we're here. We just kind of wanted to get as much attack speed as possible. As you can see, we were able to get her down to 1.2 second interval on her attacks, which is going to help us with breaking those shields. Then we have Silas here. If we can click it, there we go. We have Silas here in his normal Infernal Roar set. I didn't actually change anything here because it does have a decent amount of attack speed, right? 354, bringing us down to 1.1 seconds, so definitely not bad. He is, of course, also in Spirit Siphon, so that he will deal a good chunk of damage to the boss. We then have Calypso. Calypso is in a Soulbound Arcana set with a lot of attack speed and a little bit of rage regen. The main reason we're doing this is because her ultimate is going to give us those seal stones, which will give us increased attacks. We can stack these seal stones up to 4 times, which means that every time we basic, we're going to hit 5 times, which is really, really, really helpful. Of course, if we were able to get her to a 5, that would change, and it would be 6 times, which would be a very big difference. But of course, that's a lot of investment. That's really not worth it. We then have Elowen, and Elowen is just built normally. We've got some attack speed, some rage regen, some healing effect. She is literally just here for this passive. That's the only reason she exists on this team. Nothing super crazy. And then we have our boy Setrum, one of the first legendaries I ever pulled. We love him. He's built with a ton of attack speed, some crit rate, some crit damage, the basics. You'll see that this brings us down to a 1.7 attack interval. However, with his ultimate, this does basically go ridiculously higher, right? Because we can gradually increase his attack speed. Once he reaches attack speed limits, then he also goes into overloaded, giving him a ton of damage. So he's a very good champion for this location, at least in my personal opinion. We love that about him. And we do, of course, also have him in his Oblivion Pendant, which is his mythic exclusive artifact, making it so that we have a longer duration of his ultimate, which will be really, really helpful. So let's go ahead and dive in. Let's see what we're capable of doing. I have a general idea of what I want to do when it comes to placement. It's very similar to the placement I used on the previous team, but it's slightly different. So first things first is I'm going to place my Silas. Then I'm going to place my Constance here, and the reason we're doing that is because A, she's in Invigoration, and B, we want her to be able to hit all 4 of these ranged targets. So we're going to place this here, and then we're going to go ahead and place, we'll place Calypso, then we will place Aracha, then we will place Setrum, and then we will go ahead and place Elowen. And the reason we're placing Elowen here is because then we get the attack boost from Invigoration on our Setrum. So this is what we're rocking with right now. Now, unfortunately, our attack speeds are not quite high enough to be able to handle this first shield without ultimates. So we are going to pop Setrum's ultimate, and then we are going to pop all the other ultimates, get that little bit of damage, blow through it. The reason we do that is because we do get the energy back once this guy goes down. So realistically, doing this now doesn't actually hurt us too much. It actually doesn't hurt us at all, right? Because then we still have ultimates up ready to go for once he goes into the next shield phase, which will be now. And we're going to go ahead and pop our bad boys. Let's go. Big damage coming out from both Setrum and Silas in this situation. Calypso and Aracha are really just there to have basic attacks. I have thought about potentially taking Elowen out and just using another DPS just to have that additional, person hitting, right? Because there could be some potential for that to be really beneficial. But so far, this is kind of where we are going, where I'm kind of aiming. I think it makes the most sense for us. We're going to pop Setrum again, and we're basically just going to go through this similar rotation. So I have found that it makes the most sense to pop our Constance at around 45 or 50 stacks of the shield and pop our Silas almost immediately afterwards. This allows us to get the highest uptime of Silas damage on the shield or on the boss without having the shield get hit. Because he does have a little bit of a wind-up time. So here we go. We're going to pop these. There's that. And now we're going to get a ton of damage on the boss. I think this is going to end up being a new record overall. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to clear the next shield, but we are going to try. So we're going to pop our Setrum just a touch earlier. Hopefully get enough of an attack speed boost here to get the attacks in. Not quite. Very close. Very close. We might actually pop Silas during this, because the Silas does get increased attack speed in his ultimate, and being able to break that shield could actually be a better option. So let's try this again. Let's try it one more time, because that additional attack speed from the Vierna bond, I think it's the Vierna bond, is it? Or no, is it his A1? It's his A1, right? So he gets an additional 100 attack speed when his Shadow Cloak is in effect. So that's really, really helpful. It'll give him some extra attacks. It could potentially really be the difference between breaking that shield and not breaking it, because as you can tell, we're pretty close, right? It's a pretty close pull there. So let's go ahead and do this. We'll drop that, and then we will drop our girl Aracha. Alrighty, into the first shield here. We're going to go ahead and pop this. Get all of our guys' ultimates up. And that should bring all of our ultimates very much close to being back up, right? Because we get that boost of energy, or of rage. All right. A little tip here, if you haven't noticed, in the top right-hand corner of the screen, when the boss no longer has his shield active, you will actually see this little countdown up here in the top right. This little countdown tells you exactly how long you have until he'll do the shield attack, which generates his shield. So this helps you when it comes to, you know, for example, like timing ultimates and things like that. So that you're able to make sure you get ultimates off at the right time. It's pretty helpful. So you'll see we're like literally never using the heals from Eloin or from the Eloin Treant, right? Because our goal here is basically to just try and get as much heals from Constance as possible in order to get rage on our big damage dealers. We do have a maxed out ultimate for Calypso, so we are getting the 5 base attacks every time we do damage, which is good. We should be able to beat this last shield right here without the use of all of our ultimates. And then on this next one, we will just pop all of our ultimates and see if that's enough to get us through that final shield, because I think there's a good chance that we might actually be able to do it. So let's see if that is the case. Let's see if it's enough. Oh, it's going to be close. It's enough. Let's go. Okay, that's huge. So we're actually going to get a whole nother phase of damage here, which is really exciting. So we're going to go ahead and just pop ultimates as they come up. There we go, there we go, there we go. We got a couple extra seconds of damage. This is really good. Almost 160. So there's no way we're going to beat this next shield. I just don't think it's possible. It's close, but really not that close. But that was still a pretty big jump in damage, right? Because we were able to beat that final shield. And that attack speed that Silas gains from his ultimate being active with the A1 was able to get us and push us up to the next section, which is SS+. So we actually got a little bit more of the currency. And here is the damage breakdown. I think this damage breakdown is actually pretty good. Silas is the main damage dealer. Calypso and Cetrum are primarily here to break that shield, right? Calypso generates the seal stones, which gives her basic more attacks, which allows us to hit multiple times with her, breaking multiple counts of that shield. And Cetrum probably actually would deal more damage. However, the shield damage doesn't actually apply to the damage you see on the damage stats. It's the same as the guild boss, right? You're not actually able to see the damage that champions do to the shields on the boss, which makes champions such as Cetrum, who do extra damage to shields or are being used specifically to break shields, look like they're doing a lot less damage, right? But overall, I mean, this is a pretty big boost in Silas's damage. Before, I believe I was doing about 100k or like 100 million, right, overall. But overall, this is really good. This is a brand new thing. Let's see where it puts us. We were at top 3% before. Let's see where it puts us. Top 2%. So not much of a change. There's still definitely some room to grow, especially when it comes to, you know, things such as skill ups, right? So Constance, like I said before, does have the additional 2 things here. That 5% inspiration could actually be a very big difference in terms of the damage that we're actually capable of doing. Along with the skill cost actually is not that big of a deal because we were able to get her ultimate up the entire time. It would potentially allow us to have her ultimate up a little bit earlier in that last phase, potentially giving us like a small amount of damage, but it would be pretty minor. So realistically, just getting the 5% inspiration on here is probably going to be the biggest thing. The rest of these don't really matter too much. But then we have, like, for example, Aracha. She's missing some skills. The ultimate, right, could be pretty big when it comes to, you know, having her up and dealing more damage. She doesn't do a ton of damage to begin with, so it's not super important. But, you know, every little bit of damage, you know, for sure is helpful. But yeah, overall, I think that went really well. I'm actually really happy with it. We'll probably run it on auto a few more times just to see if we can get a little bit more luck as we push through. But overall, guys, let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know if this is, you know, if it was helpful. I am planning on doing another guide for Immortal Codex, specifically for the Furious Torrent boss that should be coming out relatively soon. So definitely look out for that. If you want to make sure you're notified when it goes live, make sure to hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified when all my content goes live. It also really helps us for our goal of pushing towards 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Every subscriber helps and counts. I would really appreciate it if you could do so. So share it with your guild, share it with your friends, your family. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.